Hit! That stupid stampede, man. That stupid stampede blocker is ridiculous. I think we need to discuss shields on blasters.
Yeah. Too much?
I think after today's event, we need to talk about that.
I can take it off.
No, you don't have to if you don't want to, because like.
I plan cutting it like here and here, so it's just the top part.
The whole idea of like a shield sniper is getting a little.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't shoot either of you guys. I had dead-on shots that would have been hits. If
Actually hit my grip, not the shield at all. But
Okay.
you're right. That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
there was at least 3 shots I had on Dave that would have been hits.
Because I mean, we still allow shields up to 2 feet.
But
2 feet.
but it should take away your arm.
Yeah. Well, if you still have a hand available,
So,
it's still allowed.
but can you have a shield and use a pistol in the same hand?
Yeah. Why not?
But then you're not carrying it.
I mean,
We always said
the,
if I put a blaster on my back, I'm not carrying it. But if it hits me, is it a blaster block, or is it me like hitting me?
I think the argument for that is more it's an active. You're actively using.
I don't want to waste time in this though, so like just keep playing as normal. We'll talk about this after.
okay.
Yeah,
Good idea.
yeah.
Second left.
That was incredible.
Did I actually hit you there? Or?
Yeah, you did.
Oh.
You got my phone. My not shield. So, yeah. Oh jeez. Nerf Club says blaster tags count when we play. There's a good debate for that in CQB. I really like our rule of not allowing blaster tags. I think it just depends on what kind of gameplay you're looking for. But so the original shield rule that we had was that a shield had to be something that you held. And so you're holding a blaster. It is a plastic item that you are physically holding on to, and if you are able to stop a dart, you should be allowed to stop a dart. And that goes for hammer shots, it goes for jolts, and then obviously it goes, I mean, nobody's brought in a judge yet, but I mean, if you were to bring in a judge, then it would count for a judge. And so that's, we've done pretty well with that rule, and obviously now we might need to mature a little bit and figure out what constitutes a part of the blaster and what constitutes a shield and what becomes of that. What do you do? But I believe that I really like our blaster tags don't count rule. I think that it's one of the most interesting, fun mechanics in our arena. And so basically the idea is that you're holding on to this blaster, so if you can block a dart with it, you should be allowed to. And so what you're allowed to do is like you can use it and you know, block and kind of make it hard for people to hit you, but you can poke your head through and you know, get a better view of the field and see what's going on there. So that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it depends on what you're going for. American Foam, welcome to the stream, man. Good to have you. So yeah, the question is just what constitutes a shield? So if a blaster is on your person, as in, let's say I do this. I've got a sling point attachment, right? I've got a sling, and sometimes I drop my blaster. I don't know if you can see that. I drop my blaster completely, and I might pull out my hammer shot. This is my blaster. This is my active blaster. This is what I'm using. If I get hit in the blaster that's hanging down this way, that is a tag. I am not holding on to it. And that way, you can't deck your entire person out with, I mean, some of you have seen Nate's going by Claire now, but Claire has like a bajillion blasters. So many blasters. Like, and I mean, they've got like the Pyragon that straps onto their back. They've got 2 giant blasters that go down by their sides. if you get hit in a blaster that's on you, that counts as a tag. It should count as a tag. You can't just body armor I mean, you can't attach a hammer shot to your arm. It's not an operable blaster at this point, but you should not be able to block with that because you're holding it. It's you know, whatever. Or you're not holding it in your hand. You're not actively using it. However, if I were to do this is an intentional thing, and I'm also exposing my fingers as well. And I mean, there've been plenty of times where I do this and I get hit in the finger. Like, oh shucks. Well, that's dumb. That sucks. So that's some of that as well. But so, for instance, my phone. I've got this to talk with you all, with chat, and being able to, you know, obviously my phone is working the exact same way as as Dave's shield on his forearm. It's working the exact same way. Obviously, it's significantly smaller, but I get hit in the phone quite a lot. Should I start counting my phone as a shield? Does that count? Is that fair or not? And the other alternative to that, the reason why we don't allow blaster tags is because, again, we want to take away any situation where one player needs to stop what they're doing, point at somebody, or even put their arm up and go over and be like, I hit you in the blaster. And they didn't hear it, they didn't feel it, because, you know, it's not them, it's their blaster. And then what happens when, you know, is it okay for that person to, you know, cross into the enemy territory, put their arm up, let's say there's an objective right over that way that we didn't otherwise know, and you go, oh, I hit you in the blaster, and then they turn this way, oh, look, the objective's right there. Is that fair? Is that okay? Should that be allowed? Should that person now be an active participant and now they can get hit and have to put their arm up? Do they need to call themselves out because they put their arm up, or do they go right back to where they were? These are the discussions that we think about when trying to figure out what constitutes the type of gameplay that we want to have, and we decide or we determine to be the most fun experience. That's what goes into all this. And I would say that allowing blaster tags to not count, that there are no blaster tags, blasters do not count as your person, you can block with a blaster, makes that way more enjoyable, because it really cuts down on the amount of, hey, I got you, hey, I got you, yo, I got you in the muzzle, oh, I got you in the buttstock, or whatever else like that, because they just didn't feel it. So I really like our blaster block rule. I think that it adds a lot of interesting gameplay and style to ours. So yeah. American Foam says, our shield rule is that if you're using a shield, you can only have a pistol in the other hand, nothing full auto, high capacity. That's interesting. So you can't use a flywheel, but do you allow somebody to hold a shield but operate a Caliburn or Havoc Prime or a Sita Model S? Is that something that you allow? Should you allow it? Should you not allow that? That's so, yeah. Scott JS says, I consider the Stampede and Modulus shields as effective shields. My rules also make blasters shields, since my rule is blaster hits normally count. Oh, interesting, okay. My logic is, in Obi-Wan's statement, this weapon is your life. If the weapon were shot, it would probably fail, if you think as a milsim, which is partially my approach. I think that's valid. I think that's definitely one stance to take. And again, it goes towards, you're trying to cultivate the playstyle that you're looking for. American Foam says no, mostly just small arms. Okay, so I think that's interesting. I think that might be a valid compromise of you, oh, interesting. Okay, so let's say this. Let's say Dave has his shield, right? Can he use a Chronos? Is a Chronos allowed? You need two hands to prime it. If he is priming his blaster and a dart hits his shield, does it count or does it not count? Like, obviously, oh, I took my hammer shot off. It's over that way. But a hammer shot can be used and operable with one hand. Scott just says, plus I don't want anyone to throw up their blaster in defense and smack a person with ABS. I mean, that's legit. I've already drawn blood on blasters as the infected several times. Yeah. Well, okay. So blaster tags do count in HVZ. Specifically for that reason. We do not want somebody to, like, if they see an infected, take their blaster and go "Hurrah!" with it, because then it's now a weapon, it's not a shield. You know what I mean? So yeah, blaster tags do count when we play HVZ. American vote, we'd be okay with a Kronos, mostly because it's really clunky to operate and doesn't provide too much of an advantage. So in that instance, would you say that the Kronos is okay because it is a low capacity blaster? It needs to be two-hand operable, but because, or it needs to be two-hand operated, but because they're priming, the shield is okay because they're not able to actually prime the blaster and fire at the same time. And that's the compromise. I think that's legit. Lightning of 14, I wrote it as pistols melee only with shields. Okay. Interesting. So in that case, is the Esper a pistol? Because it fires 130 feet per second. It can use a katana mag or a talon mag. Is that now a high capacity blaster because it can hold 15 shots? And if it can hold 15 shots, does that mean that a rival roundhouse should not be considered because it can hold 15 rounds? Is that no longer a low capacity blaster? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Yeah, I would love to continue this discussion. I would really love your thoughts, your input. I might clip this and make it my own little, you know, thought process like I did the last time with is the rival line underrated. I'm interested in what everybody else does with shields. I'd be interested in coming up with some sort of game plan for this. I would love to continue it, not even just in the comments, but join the Discord. Join the Discord. I'll try to remember tonight to start up the conversation and let's talk about it. Let's see what should be allowed and what shouldn't be allowed. Give me your thoughts. But yeah, as always, my name's Aldoss. Thank you so much for being a part of this.